Hey, welcome back to Grid Gym. It is Monday. What is it, the 26th or something like that? I don't even remember, but it's Monday. We're just back. It's Monday the 26th of March, and we're just back from an event that we went to. Rachel went with me to an event. It was actually in Orlando, Florida. I thought that the guy that was putting on the event was from Utah or Idaho or something. Anyway, it was a place that I had never been, and I was really excited to go. And then we found out it's in Orlando, Florida, and I was like, but it actually turned out awesome because Rach is like a Harry Potter fanatic, and so we went a day early and got into Universal and got to see Harry Potter World, and I've never done any of that stuff. So if you're following us on Instagram, which you should, at grit_coach. So just follow me over there. That's my personal Instagram. Otherwise, you can just go to gritgym at gritgym on Instagram. But it was a blast. It was really cool. I didn't read the books, and I didn't watch the movies, really. I probably should get on that. And this is also, I'm just going to take off my jacket really quick. But anyway, it was a really good time. It was really fun. I'm glad we went. I've never been to Universal before, so that was interesting. And definitely wore a hole in one of my feet, so I had to wear tennis shoes for the rest of the day, which if you guys know me at all, then you know that I don't really like wearing shoes. I just like wearing sandals all the time. But then we went to the conference, and one of the things at the conference was one of the realizations. I was sitting there, and I look at some of these things that are just like, how are people doing the things that they do? How are people doing the things they do? And the conference was really about how do you give a better service to your customers? How do you give a better service to your clients? And that's really what what I want to kind of expand upon inside of Grid Gym is how do we give a better service? How do we give a better service? How do we get people to act on the things that are going to help them get better? And I think one of those things is realizing that it's a skill. Just like giving a great service or a great experience or a great, all of these things, if you really take the time to look at them, they're skills that these people have built. So I was thinking about this from strength, from fat loss, from social skills standpoint, from a mindset, responsibility, power, love, joy. You could go into relationships. You could go into courage, curiosity, cooking food, nutrition, fat loss. Any of these things, they're all strength, influence, and sales. Which a lot of people get on my case about this. Or not a lot of people get on my case about this, but whenever I bring up the word sales, people are like, why would you want to improve upon that? Because leadership, parenting, coaching, what's another one? Teachers. They all are in the atmosphere of influence, right? Like if you want to influence somebody, if you want somebody to learn, you've got to influence them to learn. So sales is part of that. So when I say sales, a lot of people think I'm just talking about the scummy stuff, but I'm really talking about influence. Leaders, parents, teachers, coaches, they're all in there in the influence thing. But if you can, so the realization was if it's a skill, then it's repeatable. And if it's repeatable, then it can be learned. And if it can be learned, then it can be repeated again. And if it can be repeated again over and over, then everyone has the ability to improve and refine upon that skill, whether it's a mindset, whether it's joy, whether it's being present, whatever it is, it's a skill. And a lot of people, I don't think we really realize how far skills really go. Skills go into like being social. We don't think of being social as a skill, but being social is definitely a skill. You learned how to speak, you learned how to smile, you learned how to present yourself. You learned those things. That's a skill. Strength is the same way. Fat loss is the same way. Nutrition is the same way. It's all a skill. And if you can repeat that skill, so like you look at people that are highly skilled in strength, so they've gotten very, very strong. Or you look at somebody that is highly skilled in being social. They're a people person. I at one time, I get this at these conferences, and in the last couple of years, especially when we've really amped up going to different types of conferences, and I brought Rachel along. Like everybody's like, "You're such a people person. You're such a people person." I'm like, dude, I am a wallflower. I do not want to talk to people. I don't want to speak to people. It's not that I don't want to. That's the wrong word. I don't have this innate desire. I don't just people person doesn't really, so I'm surprised when people say that. That's a skill that I have built, just like anything else. Like you see people that are very good at cooking and about nutrition, and it's like, oh my gosh, they just must naturally have that. No, that's a skill. Whether they've developed that over years, they had to develop it over years and years, no matter what. But the realization that I'm hoping that other people can get out of this talk is that everything in your life is a skill. Your ability to move your body. Like I can close my eyes and touch my nose. That's partly DNA, that's partly nurturing, right? So we all have this ability, most of us anyway, some people don't, have this ability to know where our joints are in space. I know that my hand's over here when I close my eyes, and I can still come back and touch my nose, right? So that's a skill that we've built up over time. Being social is the exact same thing. If you want to lose fat, well, you have to build the skills to be able to cook the way, to do the thing, to have the skills that. And the point of this all is that if you can understand that it is a skill, if you can understand that losing fat, that cooking, that eating nutritious, that going and getting stronger, to moving better, to doing all these things that we want to do in the fitness world, if we can understand that, then we can understand that they're repeatable. And if they're repeatable, then they're learnable. And if they're learnable, then we can repeat them again. And if we can repeat them again, then we can refine and improve upon whatever that thing is. And one of the things that I really want to get across here is that there is no point at which improvement is not an option. Okay? It might not come in the way that you think of it, so you might not think like, okay, well, yeah, a 65-year-old probably isn't going to pull the personal record of their lifetime at 65 years old. It's possible, but it's probably not if they've been lifting since they were 12 years old and beyond. Well, they're probably already past their peak, right? However, they could move better. They could improve upon some way that has gotten them where they are. They could improve upon their nutrition. They can improve upon their relationships. They can improve upon their mindset. One of the things, like a lot of people, I think that your mind is just this turning factory that doesn't ever change. Well, it does. It changes over time. We know from gene expression, we know from meditation, we know from brain scans that we've taken on people over the course of their life that your brain physically changes over time. So mindset can change. For instance, we were having a conversation with some people in the, like, not at the conference. It was like, and it wasn't on the plane, it was a layover. That's what I was going for. Or in the layover. And we were talking about responsibility. And we're talking about anxiety, we're talking about depression, we're talking about feelings, we're talking about some like really deep mindset stuff. But like really when you get into responsibility, I think of it as a skill. And I think that getting extremely clear on what is actually happening there is important. For instance, one of the things that came up was like the example that I always use is if Billy gets hit in the face by Johnny, it's Billy's fault. Billy could have ducked, Billy could have dodged, Billy could have dipped. Billy could have done something to get out of the way of little Johnny's fist that's coming at him. Little Johnny was responsible for throwing the punch. Little Billy was responsible for getting punched. And so they brought up, they're like, well, what if a spouse cheats on their, what if a husband cheats on their wife? I'm like, well, it's the wife's fault. It's the wife's fault that she got cheated on, and it's the husband's fault that he did the cheating. And it's vice versa. It was a stupid thing of the husband to do, and he is responsible for doing it, but she is also responsible for for what happened to her. She's not blameless in this scenario. She doesn't have a lack of power. She could have done something. Just like little Billy could have done something to not get hit, she could have done something to not get cheated on. He could have also done something. So it's a match of power. It's a match of responsibility. It can be very clear. What happens to you is your fault. If you don't want to get hit, if you don't want to get in a car accident, don't buy a car. If you don't want your car to be involved in a car accident, don't buy a car. We have a certain amount of responsibility to everything. And the more responsibility we take in and take responsibility for, then the more power that we do have. Little Billy, I refuse to take responsibility and power away from little Billy because he could have done something. If you are depressed, you can do something. If you are having anxiety, you can do something. There is nobody that has zero power, and to tell them that they are a victim of this scenario just strips them of all the power that they do have. So I just we got pretty deep in that conversation, which was really cool, but it's still a skill. You have to build that up. Like anybody who cuts you off in traffic and you give them the finger and say some not nice things. Well, like you have to take responsibility for your own thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors, and manage the fear that you do have in that scenario. It doesn't help the scenario for you to get mad or angry, and that's something that you can build upon. It's a skill. Joy is a skill. Joy isn't just, it was something that we did very naturally when we were little, and then all of a sudden we got into school and we got institutionalized as we went along, and as we got institutionalized, we got to the point where, as a society, we've all agreed that it's okay to sit around and backpack each other when you're feeling depressed. It's like, oh, they're feeling depressed. We should feel depressed with them. It's okay. It's okay. I understand that you're feeling depressed. Blah blah blah. But the second that anybody was like really joyful and running around and just really happy, we would want to put them into the insane asylum. We'd want to put them in we'd be like, that person's a wacko, whereas this person's completely acceptable. It's like, why is this person acceptable but that person is a wacko? If anything, if we wanted to get a more powerful society and we wanted to be better in our own mind, we would appreciate this person more than this person. We would say, why can't you focus on being joyful like that person is? Why are you focused on being depressed? And what does depression mean to you? And I'll stop right there on that number. But love, I think love is one of those things that we can practice. I think when we were a little kid, it's the same as joy, same as power. When we were a little kid, we were joyful, powerful, and lovable. And because we were those things, we were able to love ourselves, we were able to experience the joy of being us, and we were able to just be powerful in that. And as we got older and we got institutionalized, we started listening to our parents, and started listening to our peers, and started listening to our teachers and all these other people that basically trained us out of being that. Then we started to forget that we had the option of being lovable, we had the option of being joyful, and we had the option of being powerful. And then we stopped focusing on that and we buried it. Well, we still have that within us. It's just, it's like unlearning. Like, I'm trying to think, like there's words there in the background that you can read right now. Try unlearning how to read those words. It's pretty tough, right? You look at Jim and you just read Jim. You don't think about it. Try unlearning how to read that word. I think that's how much work it's going to take to unlearn this idea that you can't be joyful, that you can't be powerful, that you can't be lovable. But that's a skill. That's a skill that you're building out and building upon to be able to experience more of your life. Courage and curiosity, I think, are the same ones. I've said this on the show a lot, but I think that courage is one of those words that we want to believe in so much, but that we get to curiosity, because I think curiosity is the product of courage. And I think no bigger word is under more attack than curiosity. Don't be curious. Don't go look at that thing. Don't go do that thing. It's dangerous. It's like, the dangerous thing is what I want, though. I want to do the dangerous thing. The dangerous thing sounds fun. Like don't talk to strangers, for instance. I think that's a ridiculous thing to impose on a little kid. It's like, don't talk to strangers. Strangers have everything that you want. Strangers have answers. Strangers have perspectives. Strangers have like everything that you want. Strangers are a great thing. How are you going to make friends if you can't talk to a stranger? How are you going to meet new people? But anyway, back to this thing as a skill. If it's a skill, then it's repeatable. And if it's repeatable, then it can be learned. If it can be learned, then it can be repeated again. And if it can be repeated over and over again, then it can be refined and improved upon. Strength is a skill. Movement is a skill that you have learned over time. And if you can focus on it as a skill, then you can look at certain people that have basically become extremely good movers, have become extremely strong, and be like, all right, what did they do? Well, they did whatever they did. You've got to look at what they did and analyze that, and then you've got to say, okay, well, they've figured out how to move better and move better and move better and move better and get stronger and get stronger and get stronger. And then they kept on doing it over and over. If they can learn it, then why couldn't I learn it? If they can repeat it, then why couldn't I repeat it? I might not be able to be as good as like a LeBron James or a Kobe Bryant, or maybe not. I'm not saying that you couldn't, but let's say that you are never going to get to that. You're a mediocre athlete. Well, you can still improve upon whatever situation you are in at this time. So the point of that is that you can just keep on repeating the process, repeating it, and then you get really good at it. So if fat loss or nutrition or being in really great shape is something that you want in your life, if health, vibrant health is something that you want in your life, well, you've got to get really good at mindset. You've got to start practicing and building skill within mindset. And I think if you put 90% of your focus on mindset and 90% and like 9% of your focus on exercise, then the recovery and the nutrition aspect of health will take care of itself. Remember, health is mindset, nutrition, exercise, recovery. So think of mindset and exercise as output, and nutrition and recovery as input. All right, and if you put almost all of your energy on the output, the mindset stuff will end up taking care of your nutrition, because almost all of us know enough to make better decisions already. Don't tell me that you don't know that vegetables are good. Don't tell me that you don't know that fruits are good. Don't tell me that you know that you should probably not sit around and just eat ho-hos all day long. Like, most of us know enough already to know that what's in the nutrition department, most of us already know enough to make better decisions. There might be some people out there that are very, very confused, vegans, and keto people, but other than that, most of us pretty much know. So fat loss, it's a skill. Being social, it's a skill. Money, skill. Influence, skill. Mindset, skill. Responsibility, power, joy, love, courage, curiosity, cooking, food just in general. Your vocation that you do choose. If you keep on pounding away and improving upon that thing, you're going to get really good at it eventually. If you just keep on going, you're gonna figure stuff out, because whenever you do your best, you're gonna figure out that there's always a better. Your best is always getting better. Your best is always getting better. So if it's a skill, then it's repeatable. If it's repeatable, then it can be learned. If it can be learned, then it can be repeated again. And if it can be repeated again, then you can refine and improve upon that skill. There is no situation. There's no time. There's no such time when improvement is not an option. You can always improve upon something. It just might better your best. Exactly, Emily. I haven't seen you on here in a little while. It's good to see you. But that's the one thing. That's the one thing that I was sitting there and looking at these people that were repeatedly getting on at this conference. They repeatedly get up on stage, and it was just like, "What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference?" And it's like, holy crap, they're doing something that I've not thought of as a skill. That's all it is. And if it's a skill, then I can learn that skill. And if I can learn that skill, then I can repeat that. And if I can repeat that, then I can get better at it. And I can get better at it. And I can get better at it. And then I can affect billions of people in a positive way. But anyway, I hope you guys got something out of this. I'm going to cut it a little bit short today, but please click the share button. Send this out to everybody you know. If you notice, this is a little bit shorter today. It's a little weird for me to see myself. My hair just looks really big, but I'm about to go get that cut too this afternoon. So next time you see me, I'm going to be hopefully super fly. But anyway, thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. Oh, awesome. Whoa. Oh, you've been lifting weights while the show goes on. That's cool. But please like, comment, share. Put what you got out of the message below, and please slap the share button. Send this out to everybody. You know, that makes Facebook see that you guys enjoyed it, and then they'll push it out to more people. But anyway, thanks, guys. See you soon.